Welcome to the Calvin and Trey radio show, hosted by Calvin and...
I'm Trey.
Of course. All right, Trey. Big 12 just took a huge hit in the college football playoff rankings. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. Usually, like last year, they nailed it perfectly from like the beginning to the end.
Mm-hmm.
This year, not so much already. I can already tell.
Well, it does reinforce my point that I was saying earlier this week, how that TCU hasn't really played anybody.
Nobody in the Big 12's played anybody. All the big games are in November.
Yeah, and so that kind of reinforced my point of, a lot of people say that, we're going to lose to TCU this weekend, as OSU is going to lose. And as much as I might want to disagree with them for a reason, I don't have one. But I also, at the same point, don't have a reason why TCU is just going to beat us. Especially like a drum.
Yeah, but the thing I hate, though, is that they're putting... The thing that kills me is they're putting one-loss teams in the top 5. Which, that's the annoying part. Like, a.k.a. Alabama and Notre Dame.
Notre Dame does not deserve as much respect as they're getting at all here.
They lost massively to Clemson. Yes, it's at Clemson, but still, they lost bad. Like, there wasn't even a chance for them. At least in my opinion. I mean, and then I can, like, most of the top 10 is kind of weird, in my opinion. And then, OSU got boned. The Oklahoma State OSU. We're behind Memphis, which, yes, give credit, Memphis, they did beat Ole Miss, but Ole Miss isn't as, awesome as they usually are. Or we found out Ole Miss isn't as great as they are, but still, I just feel like we should be at least in the top 10 with an undefeated record.
Here's my thing. Who makes up the college football, rankings? Who are the people who make up the actual rankings themselves?
There's a committee of, I think, how many people? Is it 10?
I want to say 13.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I thought it was 10. I know it's in the top 10. I know it's higher than 10, probably.
Yeah, okay.
We're Googling this right now.
Of course. This is how it goes at this point. But the selection committee overall is, it says 10 athletic directors. So somebody's not getting, they're not getting, it's not going to be fair, of course. There's, let's see, there is Arkansas, Wisconsin, Air Force, Texas Tech, former NCAA executive vice president, Vanderbilt, SEC, University of Nebraska, respect. Oh, look at this, a Clemson alum. Not just that, a director of athletics is on the head of the college football playoff committee, and Clemson's number 1 overall. Think of that. Wow. How would that happen?
Stanford.
Stanford.
Big East.
East. USA Today is a reporter. And then someone who's the director of 3 FBS institutions. So those are the 10 people you have. You have one who's attached to the number 1 team in the nation. I'm not saying less respect to Clemson, but overall, I guess Clemson's the team that's truly been tested so far. So, I mean, had any kind of test at this point. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I'm still surprised that they, did not... I get they didn't really respect the Big 12 schedule so far, but they could see it coming down the line that it's going to be really impactful. I mean, all the big games are still coming up, and yes, I know it's not the biggest thing right now, and it's more future, but right now I still think Big 12's a little bit better than most of the other teams.
Yeah. How so, though? Because right now the Big 12 hasn't been tested.
Okay, I know for a fact Baylor would kill Notre Dame.
Are you sure with the true freshman quarterback they would just kill Notre Dame?
Okay, I would be 60 to maybe 24. Maybe.
Really?
Maybe. I would say.
Okay.
I mean, Clemson put that on them.
Yeah. Okay, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Clemson's
Good
not
point.
the offensive powerhouses like Baylor is, and Baylor's leading everybody in stat-wise, so I'm just... That's the only reason why, I think.
Yeah, I guess I expect these rankings here to change the whole month of November.
Of course.
Dramatically.
Well,
I expect TCU to rise, or Baylor. I expect whichever Big 12 team wins, if it's, if OU goes on the road and beats TCU and Baylor, I expect them to go way up in the rankings, even though they already have one loss. And I expect OSU, TCU, and Baylor to do the exact same thing if they go, and they keep winning too.
I mean, it's immediately going to change this weekend because LSU plays Alabama.
Yeah.
And so, now, the thing I'm going to have an issue with, though, is if LSU does lose and Alabama wins, or if Alabama loses, like, basically, for some reason, I have this feeling that somehow the SEC is going to somehow get 2 teams in there.
I feel the same way.
Because right now, Alabama has probably by far the worst loss now because Ole Miss is not the greatest team, as we found out. They lost to Memphis at home. Or no, that was an away game, but still, it's not the... not looking so good right now. I'm a little mad right now.
Okay, that's definitely understandable for one. Right now as it stands, you're right. The winner of this Alabama SEC game, I mean, I've been saying from the beginning that college football game day, yeah, it would have been awesome if we had gotten it, but there's a clear reason. I mean, in the AP polls, it's a LSU team that's 3 in the country.
Well, now it's 2 and 4.
Yeah, now it's 2 and 4. But even when the AP polls were done, college game day shows which team to play. I mean, you already knew. It's kind of going to go to this game. It wasn't really going to come to OSU versus K-State versus TCU. They're the same colors. I got confused. But as it stands right now, SEC has better teams that have been tested more or less. But Big 12, the top 4 teams in Big 12
have not been tested. Yes,
have not been tested, and those teams are OU, OSU, TCU, and Baylor.
Yep.
When all the teams together play each other, there's going to be some losses and there's going to be some wins. It's how it works out, and we're going to learn a lot more about each of the teams.
Yes, this is very true. I don't know, I get why they probably put all the big games towards the end so that they can have higher rankings. Mm-hmm. That's their thought, because they'll be undefeated, and so they should be higher up.
Right.
But based off this community, they're wanting wins now, or constant, it seems like. Based off of this first BCS rankings, or whatever we want to call it, playoff brackets, whatever they call it. But basically, they want hard wins now, and maybe a few harder ones, because you're supposed to... Well, once again, Big 12's kind of screwed on this because they don't have that playoff for the championship.
Here's my thing. If LSU ends up losing this game...
Oh, gosh.
Okay... Then, theoretically, and LSU still wins out, they could be in the playoffs, and so could Alabama if Alabama wins out. So at this point...
going to have 4 years ago, same thing as...
It's definitely possible if LSU loses this game this weekend. I mean, everyone who's a Big 12 fan, or a fan of any other conference, should be rooting so hard for LSU this weekend to be the clear, superior, dominant force in the SEC that doesn't come close to the rest of the season. That would give Alabama 2 losses. It'd be hard to say that a 2-loss team is going to beat out an undefeated or a 1-loss team either way as it stands for the playoff rankings. And as it stands right now, I'm rooting for LSU.
I know. And then if that does happen, say Alabama wins, and then they go on to win the title, and then LSU's still really competitive, it's just like, who are they going to kick out? I'm sure it's why. I don't know why, but they're going to kick out a Big 12 team. It looks like, based on this first...
Yeah, based on this first one here, which is, a bunch of... all the committee members are supposedly watching every game or taking tallies and understanding how each game is going along, as well as how each team is dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
So both of those things are put in there.
So do you think that's the reason why Ohio State kind of got knocked down just a little bit because of the allegations towards them?
Or the JT Barrett thing?
Yeah, JT Barrett thing.
Yeah, where he's going to miss a game. I do think that has a lot to do with it, but I also think that right now, as we're seeing it, top 3 teams in this playoff rankings is Clemson, then LSU, then Ohio State. All are undefeated and all are, I guess, widely accepted as really good teams. You're not going to tell me that Clemson's not good or LSU's not good or Ohio State's not good. Sure, Ohio State, their early season struggles. Now it seems like they're clicking along. With JT Barrett out, we'll see how it goes this weekend, but Ohio State, we've been saying this since the first week, Trey, of this radio show. Ohio State, the only team they really play is Michigan and Michigan State.
Well, the rest of the teams there's Iowa, though. Iowa came out of nowhere because they're now undefeated. And they're in the same conference, but I don't think they play each other, do they? The only time
Iowa does not play Ohio State.
The only time that they would play them would be in the championship game, right?
Right.
I'm assuming.
Yep, because Iowa currently is the leader of the Western division of the Big Ten, and then Ohio State and Michigan State are tied for the top of the Big Ten standings.
Oh man, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Right now, as it stands, I'm really excited to see the rest of the season. But I would rather, as an OSU fan, I would rather, if this is how it's going to go, if OSU's going to, if OSU was already, let's say OSU's going to lose to OU. We have a better record playing OU at OU, ironically enough, than actually at OSU. I know that. Which is sad, but it's true. So let's say OSU ends up beating TCU, beating Baylor because they play both at home. They end up losing to OU. Then the Big 12 as a whole, each team has a loss. Mm-hmm. All top 4 teams could easily see OSU if OSU's tied with OU at that point, which I think is how it worked out. If OSU's tied with OU in the loss column and OU has the division head, is the leader, I don't see a way that a one-loss Big 12 team makes it in the playoffs as we hear this ranking today.
Because it's going to be exactly what happened last year whenever Baylor and TCU both were tied for the championship.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what screwed us over from last year being in the top 4. So, me personally, I'm frustrated as being a Big 12 fan. Right now, it's either you need to add a team or you need to add a championship at the end of the season like everybody else instead of have that bye week, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because I really do think that Big 12 teams are better than any other conference. Maybe SEC. They would give a good fight towards the SEC, but the other conferences I feel like are a little bit weaker.
See, I think the SEC is actually pretty darn good every single year. Year in, year out, I think SEC is really, really good. Their defense has a ton of players who go to the NFL, and that's largely the players who play in the NFL come through the SEC.
Yeah.
And not through the Big 12. Offense is generally,
Big 12.
especially the elite players, or the maybe quarterback backups and stuff like that. The SEC isn't putting a lot of backup quarterbacks out there, or starting quarterbacks for that matter, besides Cam Newton. But as it goes, Big 12's had a couple as well. It seems like a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL just come from wherever. I mean, if Tom Brady's story, Tony Romo's story, Aaron Rodgers came out of Cal. There's just a lot of different things. Peyton Manning went to Tennessee. He's the SEC. But, there's just a lot of things that are different about how quarterbacks make in the NFL, but largely special players. Elite players that make it are the ones that can make moves, juke, spin, all that type of stuff, are generally from the Big 12. Or they're elite players for the SEC that are running backs.
Yeah.
Or A.J. McCarron. And maybe Ruben Randall. So as it stands right now, this is kind of Big 12's offense, SEC's defense. And I kind of view it as the rest of the conferences are getting left behind. Besides, the lone team this year is Clemson in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't think Florida State's that good.
No, because they lost to Georgia Tech.
Right, even though they lost barely.
That was special teams.
I don't think...
That's another thing we got to talk about.
I don't think Georgia Tech's that good at all in comparison. I don't think Notre Dame's that good at all because they play a weird... If anyone looks at Notre Dame's schedule, they are independent because of TV rights and TV rights alone, and eventually... Just their football. And generally, at some point, they will be forced to because they will not do great in 2 seasons in a row, and they'll be forced to join a conference. Notre Dame will in football, which, I don't know what conference they're in basketball right now, but I think it's the Big Ten.
Big East, I thought.
Big East, okay.
Whatever.
So they'll be forced to eventually join a conference, but right now if you look at Notre Dame's schedule, Notre Dame is either just going to win out or lose another game, but right now Notre Dame has not really been tested.
No, it's just...
I think a lot of
their schedule is pretty easy, too, if you look at it, too. It's relatively easy. The only big game was Clemson, and they totally did not show up to that game. At all. Yes, it was raining, but still, you could run the ball, which they did not do.
All right.
I'm sorry, I'm still a little feisty about this. OSU's still not getting any credit, and that's the reason why I'm a little mad.
Yeah, I definitely understand that one, man.
Whenever we think that we get in the top 10, and then nope, we're in the top 14.
Yeah, I didn't say it was getting in the top 10 just because we haven't played any. We haven't, just whooped anyone.
Yep.
OSU has not whooped a team this year besides Kansas, and we all knew that was going to happen. Yep. So,
speaking of that OSU game.
Yes.
What did I tell you about this whole entire college football season? It's about special teams. And I believe it's Grant. Is it Grant?
Grant.
Grant. Oh my gosh, that kid is fast, and he knows how to do kick returns. That was just ridiculous. Oh man, he was fast too all game. I don't know why. He had almost 200 yards himself in the first half, and it's just like, oh man, it's gonna be a tough game. But then we kind of showed up. I'm kind of glad, and eventually won.
Yeah, we had it. OSU definitely, I would call us the king of the comeback so far as this season is concerned. So. That seems like a perfect representation of what's happened for OSU football. I mean, right now as it stands, do you see another team that's really come back from a lot of games? TCU.
Yeah, TCU. Oh, I was going to go NFL, but that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a different story entirely. What frustrates me the most about this rankings that just came out is that TCU is 8.
Yeah.
So and they haven't, and Baylor is 6.
And the top 8 people, they were supposed to be 2.
Baylor in the top, in the AP poll, Baylor is 2 and TCU is 5. So my thing is, I mean, AP people can do whatever they want regardless. Why are Baylor and TCU not just right next to each other, right there? Because is TCU just because they struggled more and that's what means it?
I think it's the Kansas State game.
The Kansas State game? Okay.
I think that's the reason why, because now they realize, okay, I think everybody's starting to realize Kansas State wasn't as good as everybody thought they would be, and I believe they played us and then TCU. I don't remember exactly. It's either that or the other way around, and it just wasn't the great. I mean, everybody realizes they're not going to have a great year because they don't have that good quarterbacks because they're on their 6th-string quarterback or something ridiculous like that, but I think that's the real reason. And then you see OU just completely dominate them.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I think that's really kind of put TCU back, was because OU completely shut them down. And that's the reason why.
Yeah, the one thing is I'm looking at the rankings. OU's number 15. OSU's number 14. Clearly.
I mean, once again, lose early. Nobody will remember it, apparently.
That's the main thing we're going with here.
Except everybody in Texas will remember it, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, I mean, but that's Texas's win of the year.
Yeah.
That's UT's win of the year, especially after that such a sad loss to Cal. No one's talking about that anymore, but the way Texas lost to Cal was heartbreaking.
And then they got
for any fan watching that game, college football wise. That's hard to watch.
They got shut out by Iowa State this year too, just this weekend.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Texas beat OU. We won't hear again about Texas until the end of the season, unless somehow, some way they come up as being just as they come up with something else of Charlie Strong's an issue with players or something like that.
It's frustrating. We finally got our offense going. At least OSU did.
Yeah, scored 70 points in the game. Way to go.
Okay, I'm going to take away the last 7 points because that was the last second interception. But yes, they did get 70 points, even though it's supposed to be 63.
Okay.
But I am proud of them. They've gotten 60 points I think it's 60 points 2 straight weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean...
Well, wait, hang on a second. I think we only won 58-10 against Kansas.
Was it?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Dang, I was going to make a great thing, but oh well. We try.
Yep.
Oh well. But anyways, I think OSU should have gotten game day this week, but we got the honorable prize, or runner-up prize of having ESPN, which I didn't know this was a thing.
Awesome. I don't think no one's talking about that. OSU will have ESPN Sports Center, I believe.
Sports Center on the road.
Will be hosted at OSU this weekend. I mean,
it still didn't make sense.
It's not game day, but hey, I'll take it, man. That's pretty darn awesome, and I'm glad that some recognition is being shown to OSU in some type of form or fashion.
I think, to be honest with you, OSU is going to, the students and population is going to prove why they should have had it over the Alabama and LSU people.
Okay.
I think, just in my opinion. I think they'll show up in massive amounts. I don't know where they're going to be held at, so that's the one issue. So if like they're in Boone Pickens Stadium, it will be kind of hard for them to show up, but I'm sure they'll find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Our students are loyal and crazy like that.
That's very true. We just got packed the house this game. This has to be the loudest game for every OSU fan out there. Every single one of you has to show up for this game and get loud and rowdy so that Boone Pickens Stadium is rocking for this game.
I think it will.
You really do?
I think if it's a close game like it was for Texas Tech.
Well, even if okay, here's the thing: if OSU ends up and it's a 30 to, let's say in the first half, it's 28-7 TCU.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone better stay at the freaking game.
Yeah,
because clearly we're a second half football team, and clearly our biggest thing overall as OSU is making adjustments at halftime and making sure they go into effect and show some real promise.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. It's going to be a great game. But I do have to say one thing, though, before we change topics or anything.
All right.
I've always kept saying special teams. And we had another week where special teams changed the outcome of the game at the last minute. The Miami game versus Duke.
Jeez, if you get a chance, I'll tweet it out too, at Calvin Glenn. If you get a chance, just go watch the end of that again. When it's not a Saturday and you can just really respect the fact that there's just not a lot of college football going on and take this by itself as like its own little segment. The ending of that game is ridiculous.
Yes, it's very ridiculous.
Duke scored in the last 6 seconds. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Duke scored in the last 6 seconds. Then they do a snub kick. The ball gets lateraled 8 times and Miami takes it all the way back for a touchdown. Granted, the officiating crew was suspended for the next 2 games, so the officiating crew for the Duke-Miami game is not officiating the next 2 games of wherever they're at.
Do we know why they are not officiating?
It's not because of any one thing. The ACC refs, I think they came out and just, the head of officiating for ACC came out and just said we noticed some flaws. They didn't say it because it was that one play, but let's be honest, it looked like it could have been that one play.
I mean, they did review it, though. They did review every single thing, and everything was lateral, so...
Yes, but there's a one shot of where you can see that dude's knee is down.
Yeah, I know.
On the lateral. I'm still glad they won the game, because that is awesome to watch and be a part of.
To be honest, though, Duke kind of gave up on that play to begin with. You see the Duke players are not, hustling towards the ball or anything. They're just kind of moseying on over, not really hustling. Which, that's the thing that strikes me, if you want to win the game, hustle. Get the guy down so that we don't have this whole entire situation. But, we now know what happened, and Miami has now made an awesome t-shirt. So, once again, special teams strike again. I think this is the 3rd week in a row that's happened. Michigan State, Florida State, and then now Duke.
Now Duke, yep. As it stands right now, though, it's been a crazy college football season so far, and it's only going to get better, especially with this month of November and the Big 12.
Yeah. The Big 12 is going to be the exciting time, I would say. I'm sure there's still big games going on, but not as big as what the Big 12 is about to have. They're undefeated. It's about to face off against each other.
Mm-hmm. All right, Trey. Well, we got to get to it at some point. Your hype train pick of the week that you had in week 1, unfortunately, they lost the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
In overtime, though.
Yeah, in overtime.
I will give them that.
But it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It's
Either way,
it
was not an undefeated team or anything close to it.
Yeah, I know.
So, how are you feeling here?
Oh, man. Now I feel like the Panthers are going to win the division, probably be undefeated in division at this rate. I mean, the Saints, yes, they're getting better, but I don't think Atlanta's going to be as good as I thought they were. They were great against the weaker teams, as I saw, but we have found out their flaws, which is an offensive line, which is not the greatest thing ever.
True.
So if you send an extra 2 blitzers, not just 1, you have to send 2, then you get to Matt pretty much easily. But usually if it's just 1 blocker, the running back's really good at picking him up. It's whenever they send 2 or more, it's just that's when they struggled the most. I mean, still, fantasy-wise, they're still getting good points. Fantasy-wise, yeah. But, like, overall, though, it's just, it's hard to watch sometimes. Yes, it's against the Tampa Bay, which that's the reason why they lost, but I don't know. They should have won at home. They should have home field advantage, but they didn't. But, of course, the NFL, it's like week to week, and everybody changes, I feel like. They change more week to week than they do in college.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that for sure. Well, let's move on to a better subject here. What about the Broncos and Packers?
I was shocked. Just purely shocked about how well the Broncos did and how poorly Aaron Rodgers did. He only had like 77
passing yards.
77 passing yards. And you're supposed to be like this MVP candidate, everything. Everybody's giving you praise.
He is, though. He's he's definitely...
Skip Bayless is like, Stephen A. Stephen A.
Packers,
loves him.
Packers can lose a game. It's all right.
Yeah, but not that embarrassingly, though.
Yeah, but...
They're still going to win their division, hands down. But, like, still... That was really, really sad of them. I didn't think they did not show up for this game. That's for sure.
Okay. I mean, that's what you want to take away from it.
I mean, is that what you're taking away from it? Because that's what I feel like.
I feel like everyone now knows the Broncos are good. And the Broncos are not to be messed with anymore, etc., etc.
Well, that's still questionable. It depends. Once again, it depends on Peyton Manning. Because this game, Peyton Manning looked like the Peyton Manning of old. He only threw one pick, and he was like 21 of 29. So, totally different. I mean, it's still... They don't play many tough opponents coming up until the Patriots. The Patriots is the game that I'm going to be really watching and seeing if they're going to be as good as they were against Green Bay. Because they play the Colts, which they're struggling offensively because they fired their offensive coordinator. Chiefs, Chiefs are okay, maybe. I mean, Chiefs have had a hard schedule to begin with. Bears, gosh, no, no. And then it's the Patriots. So that's the game that I'm going to be circling and watching and seeing if it's all a show or this is actually a legit thing and Peyton Manning's actually going to win the trophy.
It's true.
Because if he does so well against the Patriots, I think they have a chance to win. Like, that would prove to me that they will win the Super Bowl, or at least get to the Super Bowl.
That's true. I have been looking at the schedule for the Broncos, and the game that sticks out to me the most right now as it stands, which is about to be the weekend of the year in sports, which is Thanksgiving weekend. OSU plays OU. Mm-hmm. Then on Sunday...
Well, you also forgot the Baylor and TCU.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, college football is crazy slated that weekend and could possibly be just on for a while. But as it stands right now, Patriots, Broncos, on Thanksgiving Sunday.
And it's Sunday Night Football, so everybody can
So everyone's going to watch it. That is going to be a crazy awesome game. Either way.
Hopefully.
Even if both teams lose the next games until they play each other, amazing game to watch.
Because it's Tom Brady versus
Peyton Manning, and it's just crazy good.
They are both on MVP caliber right now.
Right.
Peyton's finally figured out how to do this again.
And I really have confidence the Broncos win that game because it's actually in the Mile High Stadium in Denver.
Well, Tom Brady has
Tom Brady has Peyton Manning's number or whatever you want to call it. But at this point, if the game was actually played in the Patriots Stadium, I would not trust Peyton Manning to go in there with the Broncos team and win. But since it's in the Mile High Stadium and it's got that mile elevation that no one really prepared for that well, etc., 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 let's go. This is going to be a great game.
One thing I will say, which would be freaking ironic and it would be funny as all get out, if Tom Brady wins the MVP.
After having the whole
Deflategate and everything. Roger would not be feeling good that day.
To start out the season, the Patriots, to me, were going to show everyone why Deflategate should not have even been such an issue because because basically the Patriots deserve more respect as an individual team, and Deflategate really didn't matter that much difference. If you look back at that game versus the Colts, clearly the Patriots, when they have fully inflated balls, do better, etc., etc. So everyone knows right now it's going to be crazy and awesome, but at the same point, the Patriots on a roll.
Yeah.
The Patriots may never say another word the whole rest of the season, how they're looking to go undefeated. But you better believe the start of the season, they want to show every single team in the NFL and every head owner and every coach and everyone they played against
everybody that
it is
everybody that thinks
this
that they're cheaters,
this is their season to show everyone.
And
you know what? We got it.
They are doing it
really well.
Really well. They are blowing people out too. That's the sad thing. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that none of the games have been close. Like, within 3 points or less. That's what I'm considering close. Maybe a touchdown. But, like, even still, they are just rocking it this year. Them and the Broncos, I think, that's going to be a great game, and I still think, in the AFC, I think it's going to be those two.
Okay.
Going to the AFC Championship.
I don't know. Cincinnati's a good team. They got a lot of good playmakers and a lot of good players.
I'm making a face at Calvin right now, but basically, I don't believe that because they don't play.
Cincinnati doesn't deserve any respect at all.
Okay, they don't. Their division's weak, and they almost lost to the Steelers, and Big Ben's not 100% healthy.
But he played in that game.
Yeah, that's true. But
if it was against Landry Jones, or Michael Vick, it would be much different.
Probably, yeah, true. But I mean, still, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they have enough offense because Denver and the Patriots have offense.
They have playmakers, though. They have A.J. Green. They have Andy Dalton. They have a good tight end who's emerging. I mean, really, at this point, you cannot say that the Cincinnati doesn't deserve any respect. We'll see later on in games when they play against the Cardinals and when they, play. They play at the Broncos.
Yeah.
December 28th, they play at the Broncos.
That's way down the line when nobody will be paying.
Right, but you know what?
Yeah.
Now, I guess that's the next incredibly good test for them. But we'll see. Dang. I think Cincinnati is having a good season, don't get me wrong. I think the Panthers are the team to come out of the NFC this year, which I know is a scary thing to say at this point, but I think that the Panthers defense is that good.
Yes, I will.
It's not the Panthers offense, it's the Panthers defense that's that good.
Who else do you think? Okay, so we're going hypothetical now.
Of course.
So, AFC Championship, I see Patriots and the Broncos. NFC, though? Ooh, that one's hard. I don't know for the NFC, to be honest with you. I really don't. I mean, maybe Green Bay. Depends, really. It's probably going to be Green Bay versus the Panthers.
Or Cardinals. I mean, Cardinals deserve some respect, too. They play in a tough division. The Cardinals do. Because they play with the Rams, Seahawks, and then the 49ers. But they play with the Rams and Seahawks in that division.
49ers still put up
they put up a decent, ball game every week, and they show out there and they have players on the field. Yes, you're right.
I mean, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, at this point as it goes, the 49ers aren't up to par with the Cardinals, Rams, and Seahawks, but of all divisions, the Panthers are not in a great division besides the Falcons. Packers are not in a great division besides maybe the Vikings. We'll see how good they are later on the season. And the NFC's East, the Giants, Redskins, Eagles, and the Cowboys is just a joke at this point because
that's just fighting for whoever wants to win.
whoever wants to lose the least.
Yeah.
Like at this point is
the
NFC East as a whole is the one division where through 8 games of the season, not a team has 5 wins. Not a team in the NFC East right now since Sands has a winning record. And we're 8 games into the season, Trey.
Mm-hmm.
How is this still a thing?
500. Woo!
John Oliver.
Yeah.
At this point, man, there's just people fighting just to make it into playoffs in divisions like the NFC South. Saints are 4-4 as well.
Saints are coming back.
They're all right, yeah, for sure. And then you've got our Seahawks. You're telling me the Seahawks are 4-4. The Rams couldn't make it either. I mean, at this point,
there's more competition, I would say, in the NFC besides the East. That's the East. Besides the East, there's more competition, in my opinion, than the AFC. Because I don't know. That's yeah. Tough decisions for me. What about you? What do you think about the NFC, like, just in general as that division?
Let's go Dallas Cowboys. Somehow, some way, Tony Romo comes back next week and takes them on a winning streak to go straight in the playoffs.
That will never
because they're the Dallas Cowboys, and that's just a strange thing that they could do. You know what I was thinking the other day though. So whenever I went to Oakdale, California, I went to see the Cowboys training camp this offseason, right?
Yep.
Then it was an awesome experience. You know, you really see them like practice and everyone in pads. It's really, really cool. And then they see a bunch of fans, just Dallas Cowboy fans in California, which just seems odd. Just seems odd to see fans not in Dallas.
I know how you feel because I saw Cub fans in Arizona for their spring training. So,
there you go. Yeah.
I know what you feel like.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy a Des Bryant jersey. Des Bryant went to OSU. It's a great player,
so
etc., etc.
This year.
then I said to myself, I work on Sundays every Sunday, so I can't wear the jersey at work on game days. So I'm going to wear the jersey on if they play Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football, which ironically enough, both those days I work as well. It's got like 30 jobs in now. But at this point, as it stands, Trey, I was going to wear the jersey the day after the Cowboys won, and it's been 5 or 6 weeks straight now since Dallas had a bye that I've not been able to wear the dang jersey because the Dallas Cowboys have lost all 5 games in a row. It has been a sad, sad time here. I think I wore it on the bye week.
Hashtag hype train for you, buddy.
Between them and I don't know why I chose the San Diego Chargers besides the fact that I have family in San Diego because, gosh, the Chargers have gone to crap too, man.
You thought they were going to do good, but,
I thought they were respectable, and then Tony Romo gets hurt in the second game, and Des Bryant gets hurt in the first game. Joseph Randall has his own personal offseason issues, and at this point, as it stands, it's been rough.
Hey, at least my hype train, they only lost a couple times.
Well, twice, you're right.
Yeah. They still probably will get the wild card. That's my opinion. They should get the wild card.
Yeah, I can definitely see the Falcons getting the wild card.
After that.
I could see the Saints getting the second wild card spot, too.
Is that even possible?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't think that could.
I got you. I mean, it doesn't sound like it should be possible, but it is.
Because, the Saints are starting to look really, really good. I mean, Breeze went off the hook, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, as it stands right now, the Dallas Cowboys don't really have it. I mean, they don't really have a chance for the rest of the season. As it stands, they have 5 straight losses. No idea when Tony Romo's actually going to come back from injury, and this is just
if he wins,
it's a prolonged thing of where we don't understand.
But the sad thing is, though, in the NFC East, if you go even, you probably will win the division and you'll go to playoffs.
But that means the Dallas Cowboys can only lose 3 more games, Trey. Yeah. And as I look at the schedule right now for the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know when Tony Romo's coming back, but the Dallas Cowboys still have to play the Panthers, have to play at the Packers.
Dolphins. Don't forget the Dolphins.
The Dolphins are hyped up. The Jets as well. The Bills. I mean, the teams that Dallas Cowboys have to play outside of their own division is enough to make you worry that they're not going to win. They're not going to win 8 games. I know that one year the Rams made it in at 7-9 with a losing record and actually ended up winning their first game. But as it stands right now, I don't see the Dallas Cowboys making it to the playoffs. It just is. Prove me wrong, Dallas Cowboys. Prove me wrong, Cowboys.
They're there, Calvin. They're there. You'll do fine. It's better than the Chargers. They have no shot.
The Chargers have absolutely no shot.
Who would have thunk that the Oakland Raiders would be good?
Who would have thought Derek Carr in his second year with that actual passing threat downfield would actually do good at this point, right?
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. Imagine that. I mean, everybody takes shots at the Oakland Raiders, but they've actually done really good. I mean, considering they're in a really tough division with the Chiefs and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And then your other team. The hashtag not so hype train.
Chargers. Yeah, the Chargers are not doing great.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Dude, it's okay. It's okay. I'll make it. At some point, somehow, they'll still be the NFL playoffs, and it'll be awesome to watch either way. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what team. Okay. As an NFL fan, period, be awesome to see a team win. Just awesome to see that type of the playoffs.
True.
So either way, it's a bunch of good games to watch. Just sadly, we're always at the science museum.
Yeah, that's true. Oh well. Get NFL, that new NFL app that you see the commercials all the time for. Anyways, so I think we got all the. Wait, did we cover the news about the Cowboys releasing a certain person?
Yeah, I said I said one sentence about it.
That was during your rant, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to feel about. I don't know what's going on. I mean, maybe Joseph Randle's the only guy who does. Hopefully that's how it is. But looks like the Dallas Cowboys released Joseph Randle. He's had a couple of issues with the Dallas Cowboys. Not this season per se, but previous seasons he was caught like stealing and stuff like that too. So you never know what's going on. And since the Dallas Cowboys don't really. Before this last game, they definitely didn't have Des Bryant since the first game of the season, and they don't really have a deep passing threat at all as we go forward, so the Dallas Cowboys have a hard time having a running game as it stands, because their leading rusher on the season right now is Darren McFadden with 354 yards total,
and Brandon Weeding is leading
in the passing yards. So, yeah, as it stands, I'm really skeptical about the Dallas Cowboys, and I thought this was going to be the year, but it's just been injury-filled. Maybe it's a thing, Last year, the Thunder just had a bunch of injuries. Now the Thunder look just crazy good. Mm-hmm. Just like they're going to beat everyone they play against, besides the Rockets on last night. But still, it's...
I do have to pose you this one question.
Okay.
Do you think it was worth giving up DeMarco Murray? Or would you have... done that, or would you have signed him for a contract again to
not for what he was asking for?
But he was doing amazing.
What the Dallas Cowboys offered to DeMarco Murray was not good, but what he was asking for was basically DeMarco Murray was going off the fact that he's had sustainable years of just a bunch of production. When, as we know right now, running backs are kind of expendable in the league. That's how they are.
Yeah, sometimes.
Kind of.
I would say he would be a top 5 running back. If he has the right team. That's the key.
Right. I think that on a Buffalo Bills team, or on a team that's not the Dallas Cowboys, and a team that's...
I think he would do good with the Buffalo Bills, because the Bills did really good with C.J. Spiller and all that. So, I mean... this year, not so good. It's because, he's not meant to be in the shotgun, taking the ball and running it.
That's very true. He's meant to put a bunch of big offensive linemen and run the ball down the field and not run side to side. Here's my thing, though, with that contract with the Cowboys, is that DeMarco Murray's 27, and as running backs go, Joseph Randle's younger, and everyone always talks about the Dallas Cowboys having just an amazing O-line, and they pretty much do. They don't get as much respect as I think they are due, especially this year, just because they don't have this mobile of a quarterback and making plays. They don't have. No longer are they blocking for only 10 seconds. They're blocking for like 15 to 20 on some plays, and you're eventually going to not be able to hold back your defender for 20 seconds, and he's going to sack the quarterback. But with DeMarco Murray, last year, he was the league's leading rusher, but this year shows exactly the same fact of, let's say Chip Kelly just puts him behind a bunch of offensive linemen for the Eagles.
But the Eagles' offensive line isn't that good to begin with, though.
It isn't. It isn't. You're right. But when you only have 307 yards rushing on a season, it's also, some of the blame's got to be put on Murray.
I think...
For sure.
I think the teams that he would do well on are Seattle...
Yeah, well, yeah.
I would say 49ers, too.
Yeah.
Maybe the Rams, because they've had success with running backs.
Yep. Any team that's currently having success running the ball would be benefited by having DeMarco Murray.
Of course.
I think for sure. Even the Falcons,
Falcons,
that's
Falcons maybe.
No, I think the Falcons could. Because at this point, if you have a stable quarterback who can pass the ball down the field, because all the teams we're describing right now have good quarterbacks.
Yes.
Who have deep threats down the field, which opens up the offense, pushes the linebackers back a couple of yards, pushes safeties back a couple of yards, makes them split out into play the wide receivers or the slot receiver or the tight ends a bit more. and you have the ability to run the ball just a little bit better. You have the ability to make all those defenders bite on the play action just a little bit more to the running game as well, because when the running game's doing good, the passing game's doing good, and vice versa. It's just how it works in the NFL.
I don't know, because he
why
would
not?
Do good with the 49ers, and Kaepernick's not the greatest quarterback right now.
But I think he would do good with the 49ers because I think that would help Kaepernick.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he would do good with the 49ers on his, Kaepernick is still not Matt Castle or Brandon Wheaton.
That's true.
That's what I want to say. Is that Kaepernick's still got an arm and can throw the ball downfield and has trust in his ability, and the playbook is open for him.
Yeah.
Matt Castle and Brandon Wheaton both times I watched them play, it just looks like the playbook's not all the way open for them and how they play, and how they pass the ball. Castle had one season when Tom Brady went down where he did amazing, and since then has not done as well, and is clearly now. He's playing for the Bills, was supposed to be their starter, then Tyrod Taylor beat him out. So, as it stands right now, Castle and Wheaton are fighting it out, and Castle's probably going to start again this week.
I
would bet.
Yeah. Okay.
Why go back to Wheaton? I mean, you almost beat the Seahawks, only with 12 points, but you almost beat the Seahawks.
Do you think, after this season's over, do you think the Cowboys are going to draft a new quarterback and say, hey, you're going to be the franchise?
No.
Not yet?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, so as it stands right now, I think that Tony Romo is still the quarterback because of the contract they paid him and because of the salary he's gotten. But as it stands right now, the Cowboys need a better backup quarterback. So they're going to get a better backup quarterback. They'll get, honestly, if I was the Dallas Cowboys, you know who I would have drafted in the 5th round that the Packers picked up instead?
Who?
Brett Hundley.
Ooh.
And you want to know why?
Why? Because
he was a good college quarterback in a pro-style offense that has some mobility. And what would the Cowboys want with him now? Some mobility out of their quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what Tony Romo does. He kind of gets a couple extra yards here and there, kind of scamper for a first down or 5 yards or 7. It's just how it goes, man. And right now as it stands, I wish in the offseason the Dallas Cowboys, to me, one of as the Cowboys stand right now, their biggest weakness is actually oddly enough, their quarterback. But when they had Romo healthy, it was probably their running backs, right?
See, I don't see Romo ever being completely healthy again. That's just my opinion.
But the guys played through broken ribs and stuff like that, and still had record-setting years. My thing with the Dallas Cowboys, as it stands, is that I just wish that they had drafted a backup quarterback, no matter who. I wish they had spent a draft pick, a 5th-round draft pick. You tell me would not have helped out.
So you're thinking
4th round.
So what round do you think the Cowboys are going to do it this year?
3rd through 5th.
Really?
Yeah, because they'll go up because Tony Romo is. Tony Romo's playing the league a little bit, man.
2nd round almost.
I don't.
Maybe 2nd round.
But there's other glaring issues that the Cowboys have on defense and their ability not to cover the ball downfield.
But the big thing
thing is that Tony Romo is 35 years old, so eventually they're going to need the other pro quarterback, and I don't think in this draft. You know what? Maybe the Cowboys let's say it this way. Let's say the Dallas Cowboys overall right now for the rest of the season win Eagles, Buccaneers.
That's a stretch because Buccaneers beat the Falcons.
Right? Yeah, you're hype train. Let's say they beat the Redskins. That's 3 more wins. They have 5 wins in the season at this point. And let's say the Dallas Cowboys only make it to 5 wins overall right now. I say in the top of the draft, Jerry Jones is a crazy man, as we all know. So
he's probably going to go running back, to be honest.
He's going to probably try to pick up Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Even though Leonard Fournette cannot come out until after Leonard Fournette cannot be drafted this season. So
he's probably going to go for a running back, to be honest with you, first.
Oh, yeah. And then
maybe,
Tony Romo's 35.
Maybe.
But I don't see, a Trayvon Boykins, his skills are not going to translate directly over. So, I could see them picking him up because they like hometown guys. He's from the TCU. Go right to Dallas across the,
Hey, you could always pick up J.W. Walsh.
J.W. Walsh? No.
He's
That'd be
mobile.
so cool, but
He's
no,
mobile.
it's not. It just, I
Mobile.
wish, Trey,
You were saying he needs a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, but he also needs someone
that can throw the ball. Yeah.
Not going to be Walsh. As it stands right now, overall,
the Cowboys, they have to have a perfect draft, and that's still not going to even happen for them to be relatively good, I think.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I can see them trading Des Bryant for a couple of key features that they need.
They're not going to trade Des Bryant. I know they just signed him.
I know they just signed, but like, Jerry's crazy. I'm sorry, but like, he could possibly do that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it to Murray pretty much, but kinda.
I wouldn't say the same.
Guy from Navy's the top. No, oh, this is just all the quarterbacks. Never mind. We're looking up top quarterbacks right now in the draft, but nobody's put anything out yet, so that's what we're looking up right now. So I still don't. This draft's going to be bad for the Cats. It's probably going to be a lot of offensive people, but of course that may not happen.
You know what, Trey? You know what's going to happen?
What?
We will see.
Yeah, that's true.
As I lean forward, we will definitely see as it goes. Right now, I don't necessarily...
Who do you think is going to get the number 1 draft pick, do you think, right now?
It's going to be the Buccaneers?
No, the Buccaneers have won 2 games, at least.
So the Lions?
It looks like
they've
the Lions.
only won a game.
It may be the Lions.
Who would have thought at the beginning of the season that would be the Lions? That would be the worst team out of that division. Maybe the Bears. The Bears aren't doing too great either.
Doing good. Yeah, I mean, who would? Yeah, you brought up a good point though. Who would have thought at the beginning of the season that losing a key defensive player would make that much of a difference for them?
Yeah.
I mean, they are just, and Megatron's also getting old. That may be a key issue, but I don't know.
I could see the Cowboys.
Uh-oh. Who is it? Who are you picking?
The Cowboys are going to take a running back in the first round in this NFL draft. They just have a history of just making kind of picks like that as it stands. So I could see him being crazy and trading everyone for Ezekiel Elliott if the Ohio State ends up winning the national championship this year on the back of him, or if the Ohio State ends up winning a playoff game with them. Mm-hmm. But I could also see him drafting like Miles Jack, who's a two-way player who plays linebacker and running back, and using in both scenarios as kind of a back and forth. I could even see him drafting Laquan Treadwell as a wide receiver, so another threat with Des Bryant as well. But I could even see the Dallas Cowboys doing something so crazy and picking like Jared Goff, the top quarterback, number 1 overall, and just say, hey, you got a year behind Romo, and then Romo's out. All right, so the Cowboys are crazy.
So here's your options for the number 1 draft pick, because I looked it up just now.
Yeah.
So you have the Titans, which have only won 1 game. Detroit only won 1 game. And then next would be either...
Man, I thought the Titans were better.
Yeah. It could be the Chargers. It could be the Jags, because they've only won 2 games. Mm-hmm. And Browns and Ravens, which that's surprising myself. Saying the Ravens could possibly get the number 1 draft pick, even though a couple of years ago they were like almost a dynasty team.
Oh, okay.
And also 49ers, because they're kind of bad. So which one of those teams would you think would win the number 1 draft pick?
Ravens.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Ravens play in a division that's just dominated by, the Bengals right now. And if the Bengals keep beating them, then there's not going to be... At some point during the NFL season, the team goes, okay, let's just start sitting players and see who we've got for next year. And I think that could be the Ravens, especially since they're not... They've got Joe Flacco. They've got a decent quarterback.
They overhype him, though, so much.
Oh, they do, for sure, man. But at the same point, like, take it for what it's worth. They hype up the guys they got. So, I could see... I don't think it'll be Tennessee. I think Tennessee will end up winning 2 games. I could see it being Jacksonville, Detroit, or the Ravens.
I swear, Jacksonville always gets the number 1 seed, it feels like, lately. And it's just always them.
They've been top 5 for so long. Yeah, maybe they should go to London.
Oh, what was the mock draft? Mock draft said Baltimore, then Detroit, then Tennessee, then Jacksonville, then Cleveland. Mm-hmm. So we were close. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Very, very true, man.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm surprised the Cowboys aren't up there. Oh, they're at 12. They gave the Cowboys 12, which is kind of funny. Oh, well. Next time, right?
Yeah, next time for sure, man. Well, you want to throw in 2 minutes about the Thunder real quick before it's 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Go Thunder.
This hour went by fast.
That's true. What about that Orlando Magic game?
Very
that
impressive.
was crazy. Crazy.
Who would have thought Westbrook was going to hit the last-minute shot?
From like 3/4 court, man. Yeah. He just pulled up and then off the backboard. That was...
The banks were open late that night.
Yeah, I saw Westbrook take that shot. And I was like, that's not good. Oh, it went in.
Oh,
awesome. We're in overtime.
Overtime.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
But they did it right back to us at the end of the first overtime, though.
Yeah, and then guess who ended up winning the game in Orlando? The Thunder.
Yep.
So we came back from like an 18-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Way to go.
But the sad thing is we lost to the Houston Rockets, which haven't lost a game yet.
Haven't won a game.
Haven't won a game. Yeah, my bad.
You're good.
I meant to say game. It just came out bad. But like, still, I'm still a little scared about that, losing the Rockets. I wasn't expecting to lose for a while, so.
Yeah, but I could see. I mean, you know, you have a team that goes down and plays James Harden, and they used to play with James Harden, etc., etc. But at this point, I think this is going to be a good Thunder season for sure, man.
Yep, I'm happy.
For sure.
We beat the Spurs. We came back and beat the Spurs.
Came back and beat the Spurs for the first game of the season, man.
Always great feeling.
No matter how you slice it, that's awesome. That is truly awesome. All right, well, we did it. Made through another episode. So this has been the Calvin and Trey radio show.
I'm Trey.
I'm Calvin, of course. I don't know what we got to come up with a new intro.
No, I like this intro.
You really do?
Yeah.
This corny kind of thing.
Oh well, first I got to go first next time though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. At some point, yeah, you will have to
I
go
will
first.
butt in one time. Next
yeah,
time.
You will?
Yeah.
All right. Well, next time it is. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. That was a good show. You want me to hit that?
Yeah.